This brief article is from AmericanSongwriter.com by Evan Schlansky. 3 years ago, 75-year-old Cameroonian musician Manu Dibango is suing both Michael Jackson and R&B diva Rihanna over the use of the line Mama Say Mama Sa Mama Kusa, which was first made popular in Dibango's 1972 Afro-funk classic, Soul Makasa. According to the AFB, Jackson already admitted to borrowing the line from Dibango on his 1983 Thriller track Wanna Be Startin' Somethin', and the two settled out of court. However, the quotable phrase also appears in Rihanna's 2007 hit single Don't Stop the Music, which contains a sample of Jackson's song. Dibango claims he wasn't consulted on the usage and is seeking an additional €500,000 in compensation. Sounds like he's going easy on them. We're pretty sure Rihanna spends more than that on umbrellas. So what does Mama Say Mama Sa Mama Kusa actually mean? One possible translation, Makasa means dance in the Cameroonian language of Douala. Now, time for Unpluggum's take on it. Ambiguous lyrics help the songwriter hide the songwriter's secret and are commonly found in some of the biggest hits. You think that with almost everyone being familiar with the tune, that it would be impossible to keep fans from discovering the meaning or with coming up with a meaning of their own for their favorite songs. Artists and their handlers also craft crazy origin stories to keep us from understanding how so many songs come to be, quote, written. Many songs are channeled from the spirit realm, like Good Fight Ministries has shown and proven in the documentary titled They Sold Their Souls for Rock and Roll. But remember that many of the most celebrated entertainers started off as children in a program, and so many of those children were made against their wills to experience ritual abuse and trauma, in order to pass on those same ideas of abuse and trauma to the millions of young fans who adore them. In Kathy's book, Transformation of America, she describes how abusers mock, ridicule, and attempt to shame the victim, especially during sexual abuse. This is to break the will and self-esteem of the artist in a way not unlike the military in its objective. They want to destroy you and speak these word curses over you so they can remake and transform you into a mind-controlled slave who will do as you are told. Now let's look at Wanna Be Starting Something and the odd debut hit that introduced most to Doja Cat, her curiously titled I'm a Cow, in which for the chorus she repeatedly says, Bitch, I'm a cow. While the meaning of the African chanting lyrics in Wanna Be Startin' Somethin' are in question, another group of lyrics in the song actually deserve our attention for the subjects presented in this video. Michael, who is credited for writing this song, as opposed to Baby Be Mine, which was written by Rodney Temperton, clearly says something totally out of context, it seems, to the rest of the song. But taking into account the context that we've just described, this is obviously a word curse, self-esteem breaking mantra that someone undoubtedly drilled into him to help turn him into a puppet, a vegetable, for his Crowley-inspired handlers. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. Still they hate you. You're a vegetable. You're just a buffet. You're just a buffet. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. Oh. All praise to the Most High for revelation knowledge. Unplug 'em.
chose? How can I lose if I'm already chose? How can I lose if I'm already chose? How can I lose if I'm already chose?
Little Orphan Annie is a daily American comic strip created by Harold Gray and syndicated by the Tribune Media Services. The strip took its name from the 1885 poem Little Orphan Annie by James Whitcomb Riley, and it made its debut on August 5, 1924, in the New York Daily News. Little Orphan Annie is an 1885 poem written by James Whitcomb Riley and published by the Bow and Merrill Company. First titled The Elf Child, the name was changed by Riley to Little Orphan Annie at its third printing. However, a typesetting error during printing renamed the poem to its current form. Known as the Hoosier poet, Riley wrote the rhymes in 19th century Hoosier dialect. As one of his most well-known poems, it served as the inspiration for the comic strip Little Orphan Annie, which itself inspired a Broadway musical, several films, and many radio and television programs. The subject was inspired by Mary Alice Allie Smith, an orphan living in the Riley home during her childhood. The poem contains 4 stanzas. The first introduces Annie, and the second and third are stories she is telling to young children. Each story tells of a bad child who is snatched away by goblins as a result of his or her misbehavior. The underlying moral and warning is announced in the final stanza, telling children that they should obey their parents and be kind to the unfortunate, lest they suffer the same fate. If you wanted darkness, grit, and intrigue in your film, you got John Huston to direct it. The Maltese Falcon, the treasure of the Sierra Madre, the African Queen, beat the devil, Annie. Huston was an odd choice, but producer Stark insisted. To Stark, the grizzled, then 76-year-old director was the embodiment of Daddy Warbucks, the gruff billionaire who shouts, "I love money, I love capitalism. I do not and will not ever love children." Of course, there is also the rumor that Huston only agreed to do such a far-flung project because he was desperate for money. Annie's climactic scene was partly shot on the Passaic River's NX Railroad drawbridge, which had been abandoned in the raised position in 1977. The scene called for Annie to climb the bridge like a ladder, with Rooster following in a murderous rage. All of this took place in the dead of night, and New Jersey's child labor laws prohibited children employed in making films from working after 11:30 p.m. and before 7 a.m. More night hours would be needed to complete the shoot, and the state government was accommodating, with Governor Brendan Byrne helicoptering to the set to sign a bill amending the law, which now allows the Commissioner of Education the authority to amend the hours of the day during which a minor may work, but not the total hours. I don't know for sure if you caught that. Yes, I said the governor actually flew to the set by way of helicopter to sign a bill, actually allowing children to work in the wee hours of the night. This changed a law that had been put in place, supposedly, to protect children. So we are to believe that the New Jersey governor thought this work of fiction was important enough to fly in by chopper, as if it were some life-or-death emergency. No, he was likely part of the networking and trafficking cabal and knew the importance of the film being used for mind control. Yeah, that part. Annie was yet another piece of American popular literature, which was adapted into a stage play and then a film. It was made by adults and was marketed to and centered around children. The story focuses on this lonely but opinionated little red-headed orphan girl who has no one to talk to except her dog, Sandy. An old, rich man adopts her and brings her to live with him in his lavish and stately mansion. She calls him Daddy, and oh, by the way, he hates children, yet adopts Annie. Yep. It's literally giving Pito programming. This male character is central to the story and is known as Daddy Warbucks. He is very wealthy, and the newspaper comic version of the Annie story was laden with messages of political propaganda. This is neither conjecture or a wild theory because it is a commonly discussed idea in university studies and among the contemporary students of political propaganda within pop culture. Therefore, we know that there is hidden intent within the design of the cartoon. However, those aware of the signs of mind control programming are easily able to see this Pito program targeting little ones who are often made orphans as a result of satanic ritual abuse and trafficking. This is yet another example of MkUltra chosen ones and their programming hidden in plain sight. I believe that it is more than mere coincidence that her handler or owner's name is actually Warbucks. Like the illustrious names of Rockefeller, and most notably Warburg, the name Warbucks brings to mind the types of lofty men who use their bucks to fund both sides of war. These are the same types of lofty and hubris men who lust after not only whorish women, like the undertone of Carol Burnett's portrayal of Miss Hannigan, who sang Once Upon a Mattress. They also manipulate young women, even their own daughters. Lofty and hubris men who hate children and buy and sell little ones as mind control slaves.